Hi there, and welcome back to Talk Healing to Me. I'm Karen Dwyer, and if this is your first time here, you are so welcome. This is the space where we talk healing in all of its messy and beautiful forms with real talk, the raw edges, and the heart led conversations that remind you that you're not alone. Today's solo episode is a love letter to the conversation I had with one of my favourite humans, Wendy Riordan. She's the founder of Nourish and Flow, a full-time working mum, a glamping goddess, and soon to be full-time CEO of her own rebellion, a rebellion rooted in rest. So on the episode, we spoke about motherhood, burnout, the myth of doing it all, and why a roast chicken in a chemist bag might just be the healing modality of the future. But beneath the belly laughs and the Puff the Magic Dragon sing-alongs were some real treats, and the ones that every woman needs to hear, especially if you're running on empty. So here are my top 10 takeaways from that heart-opening chat. And I must say, my eyes were sore from the tears of laughter coming down my face. And I know it was a bit of a messer episode, but it was real, and we had the chats, and we enjoyed every minute of it. And sometimes, the polished episodes are great, but when it's a real conversation with your pals and you're having the laugh and you're having the crack. By the way, for anyone that's in the US and hears me saying having the crack is a term for fun. So having fun, so not that crack. This podcast is for educational purposes only and is not medical advice. Always consult your doctor. Views shared are personal and not a substitute for professional guidance. So, the first point, the first takeaway was rest is not weakness. It is the rebellion. So the real act of courage isn't pushing through, it's pausing. And you don't have to earn rest by first breaking yourself. And guilt is the background noise of womanhood. I mean, that was the major thing. I've been lucky enough to co-host the Nourish and Flow Festival last year and again this year. With the lovely Hilary Rose. And this year I'm opening up the festival, and the title of it is Permission to Pause. And it's a workshop that I've done with my clients, but it really is giving that permission slip to switch off without guilt, without the needing to do anything more. Like when you're a stay-at-home mom or a working mom or an entrepreneur or somewhere in between, guilt shows up. And I think it's time that we start questioning the shoulds and the choosing the rest without the apology, because no one else is going to give you time off. You have to take it. And just like Wendy said, if you don't take time for rest, it won't happen. You're not lazy, you're depleted. And there's a difference. Every single week on a Friday at 4 p.m., we have our Friday wind up call in our MS to Success programs. It's different times all over the world. We've 26 different time zones. But one of the things we have to do, because otherwise it doesn't happen, we schedule in rest. We schedule in fun, because otherwise, and again, you've heard me say this phrase an awful lot. The minutes turn into hours, hours turn into days, days turn into weeks, weeks turn into months. And then all of a sudden you're like, shit, I said that I wanted to do this and I never got around to doing it. So you've got to actually take the time to schedule it in. We also schedule in fun. The next point was we all carry invisible loads. So Wendy's story, running a business, raising kids, cooking chili con carne for festival staff between Zoom meetings isn't unusual, but it's unsustainable unless we change how we value rest. One of the things I questioned was, way back when, and society has changed, and, life has gotten a lot more expensive. There tends to be working parents, or it might be single parents, whatever else it might be, but there's a little bit of extra pressure, especially when you've got teenagers. I mean, I got an email from my daughter who's in New York at the moment saying, I don't understand this. And it was college fees are late to be paid. And it's like, "Ugh, I have to pay it or else she's not going to get her results or she's not going to get her thing." And it's like, those things come up all the time, whether it's a bill, whatever it might be. There's a huge amount of pressure. So that feeling or need to always be being productive, always working towards resolving something or preparing for something is relentless. So really, really allow yourself to have that rest, because otherwise, constantly using that analogy, the airplane mask analogy, if you're not putting your own mask first, you're actually no use to everybody else. If you're not prioritizing that rest, you are not going to be able to recharge, and you're definitely not operating at your best anyway. The next point was we've medicalized burnout and normalized overfunctioning. It's kind of similar to what I was saying. So if you're waiting until your body breaks down to rest, you're not alone. But there is another way, and that way is through nervous system care. Again, we were talking about the different types of rest, the digital rest, the social rest. Certainly I speak to people all day. in most of our jobs, whether it's in corporate or whether it's being at home with kids. You're constantly talking or do this or don't do that. Sometimes the best rest is actually being in a quiet room, even if it's in the bathroom or the shower, and talking to no one. I used to go and hide in the bathroom when my kids were younger. I don't mean, I'm not saying anything bad about my kids, they're amazing, but I just needed 5 minutes where I just didn't have to speak to anyone or didn't have to answer anyone. And sometimes you still get the knock on the door. I know my sister does with her young kids, and I know Sarah uh, on the team said only recently, anytime she goes to have a shower, all of a sudden it's like the kids' calling card to knock on the door, be like, "Mom, mom, mom, I need this or I want that." There's something inbuilt. There's a radar in kids, I think, for when the bathroom door closes. The next point was creativity is born in the pause. So Wendy's flash of clarity came in the middle of a field surrounded by drying tents when she moved to Elite, and she said that's when she knew Nourish and Flow needed to exist. So you don't get those downloads mid scroll or mid sprint. And she was talking about about meditation as well. That's where she got clarity on her to do list. But a lot of the times, and we've certainly had it with our clients as well. Sometimes well, I've had it with myself meditating. It was like, oh, I must take out that laundry, or God, that's the third time I've washed that laundry and I haven't hung it out, or that now smells damp because I didn't, whatever it might be. But sometimes that monkey mind, it's okay that those things are going to come to you, and allow them to be. So instead of trying to force them away, I think just embracing our perfect imperfections, that's going to happen. We're not going to do things perfectly all the time. And I think embracing and giving ourselves permission to not be perfect, because I don't know about you, the trying to live up to the Instagram BS, Jesus Christ, it's exhausting. The next point was not all rest looks like bubble baths. For Wendy, it's mellow Monday yoga. And she mentioned Ailish up in Black Hill, who's adorable. I met her at the Nourish and Flow Festival last year. But for you, it might be lying in a zero gravity chair in the woods. It might be tapping. It might be hiding in the bathroom like I do, or I did. Do I still do it sometimes? Possibly. Journaling, or maybe it's just not answering the door. Maybe it's turn on the dishwasher twice. Who knows? Whatever it might be, give yourself permission to do it. The next one was we need safe spaces to be held. So Rest Fest isn't just a festival, it's a nervous system reset wrapped in fairy lights and chicken paella. Paella, who knows? Apologies to whoever I'm mispronouncing that for. And the women who attend, they float out different when they arrive. So whether that's, you know, you're going to Rest Fest, whether it's you're going to your friend's house to sit on the couch and, you know, watch Motherhood or Amandaland or any of those programs. Superstore is one of my favorites to just tune out to. There's nothing scary, there's no intensity. Sometimes just sitting down and watching that is the best. I love watching Gogglebox for that. Or 8 out of 10 Cats does Countdown. Also my favorite go-to. So it doesn't have to be anything complicated, but please, 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 whatever you hear from this episode and the one with Wendy, take the time out to pause. This episode of Talk Healing to Me is sponsored by Clean Boss, created by Joy Mangano, the legendary inventor behind the Miracle Mop and a pioneer in clean innovation. Clean Boss is a botanical disinfectant that kills 99.9% of viruses, germs, and bacteria. It's safe for food surfaces, soft surfaces, and baby high chairs with no toxic ingredients and no rinse required. It's also a degreaser, odor eliminator, and all-purpose cleaner that works as hard as the chemical-heavy stuff without the health risks. Check it out at getcleanboss.com/Karen for a clean, better, and living safer life. The next point was the orchids always bloom again. One of my favorite metaphors from the episode. Wendy's orchid took 7 years to bloom and it looked dead. She just had the stick and the leaves, but it wasn't. And sometimes rest looks like nothing is happening, but under the surface, so much is healing. So again, let yourself slow down. The slowing down in order to speed up seems counterintuitive, but oh my goodness, does it work? And the orchid was a perfect example of that. I think I counted 15 different flowers on that. The next one was you're allowed to need help. So whether you're on your knees or just knackered, or you don't even have to be tired. You don't have to be tired to take a rest. It's okay to do nothing for a while. One of the things I've said to Wendy for years, and clients as well, whatever you're feeling, allow yourself to feel it. I think a lot of times we push away when something doesn't feel good or something doesn't feel positive, and that can be toxic positivity. You're expected to be happy all the time, and life doesn't work like that. Like if you look at, a heart monitor in a hospital, it's going up and down like that, and it's only when it goes flat that you're dead. Life is full of those up and downs, and allowing yourself to be with them, allowing yourself to process the emotion or the happiness, the sadness, the frustration, whatever it might be. Let yourself feel them. Don't push them away, but just don't unpack your bags there. Meaning, choose a time. I remember my friend's dad saying to me years and years ago, I think it was during all the Channel 4 stuff. If you don't know about that, I'll do a podcast episode on it. I did a business TV program when I was 23 and started a multi-million-pound company. Again, it's another day story, but I got booted out. And I had a very, very dark time afterwards. And one of the things he said to me, which I thought was very helpful, was give yourself a time frame to feel all of those feelings. Set a date, set a time, give yourself until then to feel all of it, and then you snap out of it. Then it's time is up. You've got to move on from it. And I thought that was great. It's not easy to do all the time, but maybe that's with rest as well. Maybe it's like, I'm gonna give myself a whole day to rest. Maybe I'm going to give myself a whole 10 minutes, whatever it looks like to you. But also, it's the same with those emotions. Let yourself process them. And it's also okay to ask for help. It doesn't mean anything less of you. I used to think that when I had the diagnosis of MS, I can't ask for help because people are going to think differently of me. People are going to think I can't handle it. People are going to think I'm weak. I don't want people then whispering behind me, oh, Karen's not well. But actually having that confidence and courage to say that you need help actually then allows you to recharge, allows you to fill up your cup and then operate at the level that you want to. So sometimes that courage and getting out of your own head and getting out of your own way is absolutely the cherry on the top, on the cherry on the cake. Who knows? Whatever that saying is, don't be afraid to ask for help. A quick shout out to some of our incredible women on the inside of the MS to Success program this week who reminded me why we do what we do. Okay, we have Kay who said she slept great every night with minimal pain. I mean, amazing. We have H who said went for a walk 13 minutes and 1,000 steps. I mean, fabulous. And this is a person who was afraid to walk outdoors by herself when she started with this first. We have L who managed to do all the circuits at her exercise class without needing to stop. We had B, who was doing her PT and movement plan all week. And that takes consistency. One of the intentions for our movement classes this week was to allow yourself be with the repetitiveness and the monotony of repeating something. I think sometimes we think we have to have something fancy or hard or complicated, but it's actually in the small, repetitive, simple things that add up to that great big difference over time. So that was really great. And B is new with us as well. T started raising her knees again and something she hasn't been able to do for 2 years. She also walked for 12 minutes. This is absolutely huge. This is one of our seated clients. She was able to stand and walk for 12 minutes. Just absolutely phenomenal. We had A, who has improved her sleeping pattern, sleeping longer and better overall. And we also had another B who completed 3 movement workouts in 1 week, which is fantastic. Also a new client with us. We had Jay who showed up to the group session. This was her first group session that she showed up to, and she's been in the program for a few weeks and just felt a little bit nervous about showing up to them. So it was lovely to see her face on the calls, and she overcame those initial nerves of being visible and participating with others. And it's such a massive, massive thing, especially when you're feeling compromised or alone or isolated with your health. To show up and allow yourself to be contributed to can be quite nerve-wracking. But oh my God, our clients are phenomenal. And so she was welcomed with open hearts, and I could see her face at the end of it really light up. And we also have JM who completed movement workouts daily throughout the week, and she also attended a live session. Oh my goodness, I love our clients. If you're listening and you're thinking, God, I needed that chat or I needed that rest, or whether it's the Rest Fest weekend or just 5 minutes on your couch without guilt, you're not alone. Let today be your permission slip to pause. If you love this episode, please share it with a friend who needs a reminder that her healing is worthy, or his. Subscribe, leave a review, and come to hang out with me on Instagram at I am Karen Dwyer. Same on Facebook or Talk Healing to Me Pod. There, we've got all the episodes on YouTube. We're on TikTok, you name it. Aoife from Imagine Media is an absolute rock star getting all of this done in the background. And I got to meet her for the first time in person this week, which is so lovely. I find it funny that you get to know and get inspired and adore these people online. So it was so lovely to see this person in real time at Malahide train station and then be able to go for lunch together. Even with a 14-year-old who sat there and didn't want to eat and didn't really want to be there, we still managed to have a great conversation. Anyway, this is summertime and teenagers, huh? Anyway, if you're curious about RestFest or Nourish and Flow, the links are in the show notes, including Wendy's magical orchid, if she hasn't turned it into a podcast guest by now. Until next time, I'm sending you a big warm breath, a pause, and a roast chicken or a bag of chips in a pharmacy bag. I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you to our sponsors of this episode. You can visit getcleanboss.com/Karen. And also a thank you to our video and podcast producer and editor, Aoife McNamara at Imagine Media. Thank you.